would like to reply to Mr. Hamilton, Strangford MLA, Unionist, no sorry, DUP. Unfortunately, he jumps about that much, it's hard to know which party they're in, but I believe he's in the DUP at the minute. He came at me about something that I said to do with the SDLP. The system of government that operates in this country is a joke. And the point that I was making was that under the present system, that whoever was next in line for the particular job, in this case it was Justice Minister, well, it should be given to them. We shouldn't be able to change our government system to please ourselves. That's not democracy, that's dictatorship. And but they have chosen to come at me about it, so I intend to answer them. First off, Mr. Hamilton, if I had my way, there would be no Sinn Fein IRA butchers in government. They should not be there, especially while the IRA Army Council are still running Sinn Fein. And that's a fact. That's not a myth, it's a fact. That Sinn Fein are still being run by the IRA Army Council, the very people who butchered our loved ones over this last 35 years. So I'll not take a lecture from you about the DeHunt system. Yous are the politicians that created the system we have in place at the minute. So don't lecture me about what I want and what I don't want. What I want is a proper government in Northern Ireland, a government without terrorists, and a police force that represents the community and deals with policing and justice the way it should be. Nothing more or nothing less. And you can play wee silly games on politics, which has been going on for the last 40 odd years in Northern Ireland. But unfortunately, it is people like ourselves who had to pay the price for your silly games. If people had done these deals, and I wouldn't have agreed with it being done, but now that it has been done, if they had done it 40 years ago, a lot of my family, a lot of my friends, a lot of my neighbours, and a lot of other people within the community would be alive today. So don't tell me the rights and wrongs of what's going on at the minute. It is wrong. It was wrong 40 years ago, but you have decided to try and make it right. I believe you have got it falsely. You have misled the people, and you are basically putting a spin out there that the people don't know where to go or what to do. We now have a situation where we're told that we could end up with Sinn Féin as the First Minister. Well, first off, I'd like to make this clear. I know, and the majority of people who have suffered because we've paid the price and we've made it our business to know, the First and Deputy First Minister have the same powers, no more or no less than each other. Who negotiated that? Certainly wasn't me. It certainly wasn't me who negotiated the present situation in Northern Ireland, where Sinn Féin could end up the largest party. Sinn Féin should never ever have got into that position. Who put them into it? Mr. Hamilton, you take responsibility for what you've done. You're part of the negotiations and part of a party who helped put us into that position. I didn't put you into it. Your party put us into it. I'm not a politician, so I will admit when I'm wrong. But since when did the Alliance Party ever come up with anything that was of much use to the unionist stroke loyalist community in Northern Ireland, or for the future of Northern Ireland within the United Kingdom? Because I've never heard it, but perhaps I've missed that. But the other thing is here, like, it says in the paper where about relationships between us and the DUP. I never make anything personal. There is people within the DUP who I have contact with and have been helpful to the victims. And I have no problem with that. And I have no problem working with them people. And I can have my arguments and my debates with them, and we can move on from that. But there is a vendetta out there within certain memberships or certain members of the DUP who feel that it's time we got rid of the victims, because they're creating too much of an embarrassment. But let me say this to you. David Trimble, the first time I ever met him, said that if he remembered, he would mention the victims. If he would remember, he would mention the victims. I can assure you, before he was finished, he remembered who the victims were. And I hope we're not heading down that road again, where we have to go back out onto the streets and back into our campaigning and our protesting and our lobbying. Because with all the problems I have with the politics, I put the future of the victims first and the needs of the victims first, but I also put the principles of the victims first, why they were victims in the first place. Justice is our biggest issue of all, and we will not surrender that to no Republican butchers who, for some reason or another, have been allowed to sit down with their politicians in government who feel they can now trust these people. Let me tell you about trust, Mr. Hamilton. My older brothers and myself run about with men, played football with them, went to school with them, and in some cases my older brothers went and drank together with them. They stayed in our homes and they turned around and they murdered some of our families. So don't tell me about Sinn Fein, IRA and how you can trust them, because they are the lowest of the lowest. They will shake your hand with one hand and they will knife you with the other. Unfortunately, that's something you don't understand coming from Strangford. You probably never even seen the troubles. But already, look at the front page. What does it say? Sinn Fein and no parade warning to other. You are actually negotiating with Sinn Fein IRA, and so is the leadership of the Orange Order. You should be ashamed of yourselves. And again, I'll take no lecture from you, Mr. Hamilton, or anybody like you. I say it as I say it. I don't hide behind any political chit-chat or any political talk with double meanings in them. What you see and what you hear is what you get. It's unfortunate that we don't have many politicians like that, but perhaps some will see the problems that they're creating and pull back from what they're doing. The victims, again, the definition of a victim was never involved in these talks. Issues that were run to the heart of the very Ulster man and woman in this country were never in these negotiations. Why? Because you knew you couldn't get them. You can't even get us a parade down a road, 5 minutes of a walk down a road. You can't even get us that. And you're telling us you're negotiating one of the best deals for Northern Ireland. How foolish do you think we people are? How stupid do you think we are? And I say again, there is some good politicians within the DUP, and I would ask them to stand up and be counted. And the same within the Unionist Party. This is not about party or politics. This is about our country and our community. About the people who have, out over the years, paid an ultimate price. And I would ask you to consider why they paid that price. And can I also say that the threats of removing our funding for helping the victims, the people who have suffered, will not deter us. Justice is our most important issue, and we will stand by that, no matter who threatens or intimidates it, whether it be the IRA or the government.